Well, hello everyone. It's a new day, new weekend, because really I've only been able to do this work on the weekends. And today we are actually going to attempt to finish working on the swing set. Yes, I know you want another series or another part. I could keep going, but really there's other things I gotta move on to and other projects, and you guys can watch that. Okay? Okay. Alright, so yeah, we're gonna try to finish today. And really the big areas that are in question at the moment, we got to get the tire swing attached underneath, and then we've got to take the jungle gym, which holds the swings, which goes over here and across the side, and we got to assemble that and somehow get it on the top. And that's the heaviest single piece, so I was going to get some help with that. I'll see if I can do it on my own. Should be kind of fun. You also notice that I have since hung a swing on this side because Lincoln really likes swings, and it's a lot easier on Mommy if we had that swing here as opposed to the park, which is several hundred feet away. So yep, and time to get to work. Alright, so first thing we got to do is hammer out this bolt, because I wasn't able to get it out when I put the thing together, because it is rusted like solid. So fortunately I've got a couple replacement bolts for these, and we'll go ahead. So the on this board, this is actually the inside, this is the outside. That piece bolts to the outside from the inside, and then there's some side struts that bolt to the outside from the outside, if that makes sense. So we'll try to get those all together, and hopefully it'll make sense then. Okay, so now we've got the ladder piece here, the holes facing up, and then we put the base with what was the bottom, which is kind of rotted away, but we're going to keep it anyway, so it matches up. Knock out some of the junk and line it up. And we got some brand new lag bolts that are just a little bit longer than the old ones. They're 4 inches. I think the old ones were like 3.5 or maybe 3. I think they're 3.5. So we've got new lag bolt, new washer, and I'm going to go ahead and fit this in there. Yeah, taking this apart was actually a real pain because I couldn't get this bolt out because it was rusted to the washer, as you saw. And so I had to turn this whole board with regards to the other one until the bolt, screwed itself out. That was not pleasant. But here we go. Alright, so that one's mostly in. We'll go ahead and get the other one in here. I'm actually going to grab my long breaker bar again. And another new bolt for the new washer. And where's the hole? Right there. So with these new bolts and washers, that was after, let's see, if this thing was built in 1993, it's currently 2020. That's, potentially 27 years of sitting outside and getting rust and corrosion. And yeah, if it'll last another 27 years, I kind of doubt it. This would be a 50-year-old swing set if that was the case, and that would just be ridiculous. But I guess if we take good care of it and give it along to the next family who has it, if they want it, if it's still in good shape, could do quite a number of years still. So let's see how we're doing with that. Looks like that might actually be turning in its hole. Oh well, it's kind of secured. Alright, So the next thing I gotta do, so this is again the inside. That's funny, that doesn't really look even there, but that's the way she sits. Yeah, so next thing I gotta do is flip this over. Only a few more pieces to go. Actually, whoop. Lost my grip on it there. Yeah, we'll turn it like this. Okay. Or do we want to turn it like, yeah, we want to turn it like that. Alright. So now, the parts that have to get attached are this cross beam here, and there's one on the other side. So to attach this one, if we position you guys to see all this, let's go ahead and plant this right here. Push this at the angle it's supposed to be at. Push the grass out of the way here. Actually, I'm going to tighten this a little bit here. But it's enough for what I want for now. And this is going straight back into the hole as in before. I just disassembled it to, well, first of all, get in our car on the way in. And second of all, oh, that's not good. I don't think that's lined up quite correctly. Let's actually line that. Let's take this all the way out and line that up the way it's supposed to be. Well, there's a washer in there somewhere. Can't see it at the moment. You know what? There it is. Alright, that's lined up. And let's see if trial number 2 we can actually get this in correctly. Let's start pushing it off. Yeah, I think that's good now. Yep, that's correct. Alright, nice and sturdy. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and install the one on the other side as well. And then this piece will be ready to install on that piece over there. We'll try to get it elevated. Alright, that piece is on now. And the next part's really tricky because this is heavy. That's pretty heavy. That end has to go up there. And simultaneously this end, basically we got to lift this end and then that end at the same time, and I'm one person. So it would be useful to have a second person. I might wait until my neighbor's up a little bit later in the day. But for right now, I'm going to see if I can attach this joint here so these two parts come together. And it happens on the other side too, and there's one bolt that holds those. And then these support beams make that joint rigid so it doesn't, you know, flop one way or the other. And the way I got this down, it was not too pleasant. I actually pulled down that top beam there, and this was still attached. But the reason I did that was because the lag bolts, the carriage bolts that sit in the top here, and that hole were spinning. And we've actually got a way to fix some of those spinning carriage bolts so they don't spin in the future. We can disassemble this. And you know, this time I was actually able to pull it out. So what I'm thinking I'm going to try to do is get this joint put together and then lift and move this whole thing and tilt it back and kind of walk it forward and then lower it down into place over the railing there, and then work on the last bit and get the bolts in place. You think I can do it, or you think this is crazy? Well, either way, I'm going to give it a try. Oh boy. Oh boy. Quick breather. That's not right. It's right there. It's right there. I got one. Alright, that was probably the part that I've been most fearing. Well, that and getting the rest of this back up. Since we got this thing, how was I going to get that in place? But I did it. Probably going to be sore for the next week and a half, but I did it. There's one last thing we got to fix though before I finalize the placement of those bolts. Alright, now what I'm going to try to do here is prevent this carriage bolt from turning in the future, because taking this out and taking some of the other carriage bolts out was a bit of a pain because the wood's rotted over the years. What was recommended I do, one of the things that was recommended was get some instant epoxy, and this sets in like 5 minutes, but we're not going to be testing the set. And I've actually banged this nut out a little bit so I can get in behind it there, and hopefully you'll be able to see this. If it focuses correctly, I think it is. So we're actually going to, this washer, this might not be out far enough. Okay, well, it's out some. We're actually going to apply epoxy back there. Kind of cool the way it flows down there, isn't it? Two-part epoxy going straight into that crack, and some of it's going past the crack. But if I'd really been thinking, I would have done this before I got the bolt in there, but it was a little stressful. Supposedly this cures in like a minute, so I'll go ahead and do the other side. Push that in, and go ahead and do the other side. And hopefully that'll stop it from spinning. Alright, now that I've epoxied both sides, I can go ahead and get the bolts connected, bolt them back down. So I got here a washer, and the bolt's not straight anymore. But I got a washer. I think it's the right washer. Oh boy. Here we go again, trying to get washers into holes that no longer fit them. Okay, maybe it's not at the right angle. Let's see if we can poke that in. Okay, now that washer's on. There's another washer that fell down right here. We'll go ahead and put that one. And this one, oh, this washer is much smaller. Okay, maybe that's why. Maybe it's not the right washer. Nope, that is the right washer. Where did this washer come from? Oh, maybe it came from over here. Might be missing a washer. No matter. We'll get it done. Alright, so now the washer's on. We got a lock washer and the nut, and we'll put that. Ooh, that's all sticky. I'll go ahead and try to get the nut started, but probably going to wait for the full 5 minutes for this thing to cure before we go ahead and try turning this thing. Yep, it's turning, so we'll wait on that. Try to get the one in on the other side. See where that washer went. Oh, here's the washer. Found it. Now my hands are all sticky with some epoxy. Oh boy, it's a fun day. there we go. A little shifting and it goes right in. There we go. Now let's get the nut and lock washer for that. Let's see if we can't go ahead and get that into place. And the reason these nuts aren't going straight on is because the end of the thread's been damaged a little bit because of the way I hammered them to get them out. But you know, you use what you got sometimes, and you gotta get something done quickly. Sometimes you cause damage, a little bit of damage, but I've been able to get all the rest of the nuts on their bolts so far with a little bit of persuasion. And if worse comes to worse, I do have a tap and die set downstairs, which I actually haven't used yet, so it might be kind of fun to get that out. See if I need to get things rolling. This does not want to get on there. Okay, well, we'll get these on and then update you on the next step. If Lincoln were here right now, he'd be fascinated because we have a little Mr. Frog in our yard. Or toad. I think that's more of a toad, actually. But yeah, they appear from time to time. I really need to cut this grass. So, escape little Mr. Toad before the lawnmower comes. Wouldn't want you to get caught in that. Okay, so I wasn't really able to get those nuts on yet. So what I did is I hammered them attached to the bolts. So I got the bolts out a little farther. So with these particular lag or carriage bolts, I can then put a 13mm wrench on there, and it'll hold that while I tighten the bolt. So we'll see how that works. I've got a little bit of a rope acrobatics there. So I got wrench goes in here. Might not be hammered out far enough for me to do that, but alright, there we go. And then I got socket wrench on the other side, and this actually isn't tightening the bolt yet. Well, now it is, but it was yeah. So now the bolt's on, or the nut's on. Sorry, I get my nuts and bolts confused sometimes. So that's on, and we'll go ahead and tighten this the rest of the way. Once the thread's in the carriage bolt, the nut tends to tighten much better. And I don't know if this epoxy will do anything if I ever try to take this apart again, but yeah, there we go. And then we'll get the other side done too. Next thing we got to do is line up these lag bolts, and to do that, they're almost lined up, but what I'm going to do is go ahead and get in here, ow, and kind of push this through, and at the same time wiggle this around so we get the right angle. I don't know if we're gonna get the right angle. Oh, this one, no, that one's going in a little. I might have to drill some holes. Actually, I think this one wants to go the other way. It's definitely going in somewhere. It's going in real crooked. And I guess that's where the hole is. That's where the hole is. Now, I might end up drilling some holes. Now, this one's going in. Alright, I actually did end up getting that last bolt in. It was aligned. It's a little crooked. I think the holes might have been made crooked. But yeah, we got all 4 lag bolts in now. So this is sturdy and rigid in place. And now here comes the crazy part, where I am going to attempt to, by myself, tilt this up walk it into position or rotate it into position, and then let it down easy so the ends, which are right there, are just sitting on those beams up there. This may be my last entry. Give myself an applause. Okay, so that's not exactly the way I planned it, but it is actually easier than I planned it. I'm going to try the same thing with the epoxy up at the top over here. That one I will let set for 5 to 10 minutes before we, well, we basically have to set the lag bolts in it and push it down, but we'll wait 5 or 10 minutes before we actually line everything up and try to mess with the lag bolts at all. So yeah, let's show you what that looks like. Okay, so here we have one of the large holes for this top beam. It's got this massive lag bolt that goes through. It's a little bent, but that's all good. We're going to try to get that lined up a little later, but for right now we're going to get epoxy around this area and this area so that in the future when we try to take these things apart, hopefully we don't have as much of an issue with I'll get this cap off. We don't have as much of an issue with the spinning carriage bolts. Let's see now, 5 minutes ago I used epoxy for something else. Oh, there goes the cap. It's okay. This thing's only got 2 uses in it anyway, because after that it well, we don't have any more nozzles for it. So yep, we're going to go ahead and apply the epoxy generously. And there it goes again. I get all this epoxy in there, all around the edge. I would even fill it in, but that's not a good idea. And we're going to do the same around the other side. So now we're just going to shove that down in there. And yeah, and then try to line that up. And same thing over here. So let's do the other one. These boards are creaking because they're rubbing against each other. But yeah, if I try to push this a little bit, it's kind of wedged in here. I can then push this down. And it's basically lined up right there. Yep, it's lined up. Got it all the way in. And would you look at that? This one fell in too. So that was a pretty good that was a pretty good eyeball alignment from the ground there. Alright, so the next thing I gotta do is attach the nuts on the bottom of these things. Bolt them down, attach the swings, and yeah, you get to watch the rest. Yeah, one other thing. So from the steering wheel, if you remember last time I wasn't able to get this bolt in, well, a couple days ago Lincoln was playing up here and I decided to try to grab the sides here and pull them together and manipulate it, and I got it to pop in. Easy peasy. So I'll put that nut on too, because I forgot to put that nut on. But yes, the last thing we got to do here is get the nuts on. Ooh, that's all sticky. Yeah, I better get those nuts on quickly, otherwise I might not be able to later. So, these ones should turn pretty easily actually, because they were not hammered at all. They were just stuck. And by the time we got the nuts out and loosened, both parts were. See, this is the one that turns real easy, so I'm going to wait on that one. But this one is not turning. I think this one's actually missing its washer, so I'll have to go out and buy a washer for it. Put that in there. But again, because there's glue all over the nut, the bolt, I don't want to get that, I don't want to wait till the glue dries and sets. And I want the nut to turn. I just epoxied my armpit. Oh. Yeah. Let's see. Is it bad? Can you tell? Will Allie tell? This is a brand new no, it's not a brand new shirt. I like this shirt though. Alright, so that's finished up. Yay! Okay, now one of the last things for us to do, a thing that my wife has been waiting for me to do for the longest, because Lincoln just loves to play on the swing, is install these swings. And we got two of them. One of them is already on the other side, but we're going to put it back over here. And this one, so it goes in real easy like this. Got this little carabiner, or I don't even know what you call these, locking things. It's quick. We left these in place, so they should be even. We just put these through the eye hooks over here, and we're going to have to clean that seat off. And obviously, if it's not quite even, we can make little adjustments here and there. But so that might actually be twisted around a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Alright, now I'll put it on like this. And voila! We have a swing. Cool. And now back by popular demand, and it's Encore Performance, my drill. And we're actually, so this is the bracket that holds the tire swing, and the bolts that hold it go all the way through, hang down from the top with big washers and whatever. Still got to extract those out of the old base here. Actually, I want this to be pretty centered. But what I'm going to do is make a little marking hole where each of these is supposed to go, and then finish drilling it out. And it actually wasn't exactly even before, but it goes across both boards. It's a little disturbing that there's not really any extra support, except for the fact that these two boards have their own tack boards. So, if you remember correctly, there's a tack board that holds all these, tack board that holds all these, and then there's a tack board that just holds two in the middle. And I think that's why. one, nice little stubby little bolt, goes through there. And then number 2. Cool. Alright, and then from the underside, we got a washer, a lock washer, and the nut. And again, this is not something that I pounded on, so the bolt thread should be fine. Shouldn't have problems like I did with some of the other ones. And hopefully I can get both of these in. Yep, I can get both of these in at once. So washer, lock washer, and nut. And then we'll tighten that more. And we got the other washer, lock washer, and nut combination. Washer, lock washer, and nut combination. It sounds like a trail mix. Oops. And this. That put in there. And then we'll go ahead and tighten those up and hang the tire swing. Tire swing connects similar to how the swings did. And it's got 3 of these chains with little carabiner hooks on them. And this might be a little tricky. This particular one's quite stuck. Actually, I might need to oil it. But yeah, I've actually got to lift this and get one of these in at a time. And it was a little tricky getting these off. Oh boy. I get the idea this is going to be a bit of a struggle. But we'll get it in eventually. We always do. Alright. That's one. And then there's number 2. And oh, this one's stuck too. Oh. And 3. And now Lincoln has tire swing. Sweet! Sweet! Just one last thing to do. Alright, one last thing to do. And then we'll be completely done. Just to give you an idea how old this thing is, it says Rainbow Play Systems Incorporated, Prior Lake, Minnesota. I don't think they've been in Prior Lake for quite some time, but because this was a restoration, it wouldn't be right unless we reattach the old nameplate from the old base section. So now the remainder of the old base section, along with a couple pieces that broke, can all be tossed aside. But this is now once again a Rainbow swing set. And it's got monkey bars and swings and a tire swing and a tower and a slide and a steering wheel. And maybe someday soon it'll have a canopy. That's up to Allie. She has the time for that. But this has been fun. I hope you all enjoyed it and found it inspiring, or at least educational and maybe motivational if you want to go try your own project. This was basically 1 week per video, so this is what, part 7, plus the weekend that it took to disassemble this thing. So yeah, it's been quite an adventure. We'll have more YouTube videos coming up soon with various other projects and reviews, and probably over the next couple of weeks we're expecting our second child to be born, so if there's anything that's posted during that time, it's either stuff that I'm recording now, or it'll be music, because music are pretty, like, records, they'll be pretty quick to, record and post. And yeah, and maybe we'll have some videos of Lincoln enjoying this thing in the meantime. But there you go. This is the restoration of a rainbow play set, a rainbow swing set. And yeah, hope you guys have a wonderful time of it, wonderful day, wonderful weekend, wonderful year, wonderful whatever, wonderful life. And please like and subscribe if you like this video, or are amused by it at all, and would like to support us. Still trying to get this YouTube channel off the ground. I need, I think, 905 more subscribers before we can make this a real channel and start to do some real cool stuff. But yeah, thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day. Bye for now.